Welcome to Fantasy Audiobook, Starcraft for All, My Base Fusion Zerg Core. Chapter 11. 9 arsenals were in operation at the same time. 10 satellites, that should be enough. There are now 9 satellites, plus the previous one, a total of 10 satellites, combined into a network, distributed in various locations in the planet's orbit. Through their lens pictures, we should be able to get a complete picture of the planet. Unless the planet is as big as Jupiter, that's certainly enough. A few hours later, 5 of the satellites had entered orbit and returned clear images. There are also 5 satellites flying towards predetermined orbits. The images taken by each satellite were combined together to finally form a nearly complete picture of the planet. At this time, Joe unexpectedly discovered that the location he was on turned out to be an island. The island is very large, with a diameter of more than 3,000 kilometers. Damn it, this is not an island, it's just a continent. Apart from the long coastline, the rest of the island is forest. Ancient virgin forest. The closer you get to the center of the island, the denser the trees are, and the more amazing their size and height are. The trees near the base are generally only 5 to 10 meters in height, and occasionally there is one over 10 meters. And the tree is not too old, just over a year old. A tree that is just over a year old can grow to over 10 meters, which is an astonishing speed. But in the center of the island, any ancient tree is hundreds of meters high, and the tallest one is estimated to be over 500 meters. Moreover, the thickness of the tree is indescribable. The whole tree blocks out the sky and the sun, and its dense branches and leaves stretch out, covering an unknown amount of area. Damn, for such a big tree, let's plant it plus. This planet is not only big for animals, but also for plants. Zhou Quan gradually frowned as he checked the images sent back by the satellite. In addition to the island he was on, there were also a few piles of rubble that could barely be called islands. The planet was nothing but water. Could it be that this is a water world planet? It's impossible. There should be other islands and lands, but I didn't find them. As time passed, the remaining satellites gradually fell into place. The images are combined through neural networks to form a complete topographic map. Finally, another piece of land was found. It should be said to be an island. The island is circular in shape and has a diameter of 3,000 kilometers, slightly smaller than the island on which it is located. The island is full of rocks and not a single tree. In the center of the island, blazing flames burned, turning an area of several hundred kilometers into a world of fire. What a strange landform. One island is full of woods, but the other island doesn't even have a tree. This situation makes Zhou Quan unable to understand. Core, have you ever seen such a situation? Lord, the universe is full of wonders, and all kinds of planets may appear. Close black lens bracket. Hey, what is this? Zhou Quan suddenly saw a creature in the center of the flame. Its appearance is very similar to the legendary Suzaku. Climbing in the center of the flames, glowing red all over, it's beautiful. Zhou Quan zoomed in on the satellite image out of curiosity to take a closer look. Suddenly, the Suzaku-like creature raised its head and looked straight over. A red light shot out of his eyes. The screen disappears instantly. At the same time, the satellite also disappeared from the neural network without a trace. Zhou Quan's hair stood on end because he was discovered. The satellite was actually knocked down. It was on orbit 5,000 kilometers away, and it was directly destroyed. How powerful is this Suzaku-like creature? According to analysis, the strength of this creature should have reached the second-level civilization. Close black lens bracket. Level 2 civilization. How are civilizations graded? Analysis based on the existing mechanical technology database. Close black lens bracket. First-level civilizations are planetary civilizations that have the ability to navigate the surface of the planet. They can also leave the planet briefly and explore nearby satellites. Control a certain amount of gathering power to make nuclear weapons. Close black lens bracket. Level 2 civilization has complete control over nuclear energy, can automatically navigate within the star system, and even transform other planets. Close black lens bracket. This is a civilization classification level that belongs to mechanical technology. It is different from the Zerg biotechnology classification method, but it is similar, and the final technological roots are similar. Close black lens bracket. The creature that destroyed Satellite 8 before clearly emitted nuclear radiation energy when it attacked, and its control was very precise. Close black lens bracket. So it can be determined that the other party has reached the second-level civilization, which is the second-level biological civilization. Close black lens bracket. If divided according to the level of the Zerg, it should be level 20. Close black lens bracket. Second-level civilization. Level 20. No matter from any aspect, it is far beyond what I can imagine currently. This planet is very dangerous and terrifying. When he was about to build another satellite to fill the gap, a rotating cloud appeared on the screen. Storm. A very familiar picture. This is a cloud picture of a storm. Satellite footage shows lightning and thunder in the storm. The storm was very large, with a diameter of thousands of kilometers. It can be imagined that the energy gathered inside is also very terrifying. What surprised Zhou Quan was that there was a creature flying through the storm. This creature looks like a tiger, is over 300 meters tall, and is over 500 meters long. Zhou Quan's scalp was numb when he saw it. This creature looked even more terrifying than the Suzaku in the flames. Master, this is also a second-level civilization creature. It exudes radiation fluctuations from nuclear fusion. Close black lens bracket. They are only second-level civilization creatures. The next second, Zhou Quan started to curse. The storm flew towards his island. The scary thing is not the storm, but the second-level civilized creature in the storm. The storm will arrive in 30 minutes. Close black lens bracket. Everyone, go back to base, right now. Zhou Quan yelled in the God-level network. At the same time, I checked the energy reserve of the base, and there was still 60,000. Hope it's enough. The storm is coming with force. All soldiers returned to base. There were still 20 minutes left before the storm arrived. After core analysis, the storm was not natural at all. The main reason for its occurrence is precisely because of the tiger-like second-level civilized creature in the storm. At this time, Zhou Quan had no choice but to pray that his base could withstand it. The storm finally came. The wind howled, lightning thundered, raindrops fell, and a large amount of lightning fell on the base. The energy dropped like crazy. Almost every lightning strike caused the base to lose 1 point of energy. 1 point of energy is not much, but it can't hold much. In just 2 or 3 seconds, the base withstood hundreds of lightning strikes. At this time Zhou Quan also breathed a sigh of relief. Fortunately, my base is not at the center of the storm, so I don't have to bear the direct impact of the storm. I am only on the edge of the storm. The storm was heading towards the center of the island. Analyze energy and collect data. Start collecting data. Close black lens bracket. Although the energy is constantly decreasing, it should be able to survive. And taking this opportunity, you can collect a lot of data about the second-level civilization. Zhou Quan knows that this data will be of great help to him. Regardless of the fact that the research speed of scientific research institutes is very fast now, this is because there is information about these things in the database. The Scientific Research Institute is just drawing on these resources. It will be difficult when we have to rely entirely on our own research and development in the future. So such a good opportunity must not be missed. An hour later, the edge of the storm passed the base and continued to fly towards the center of the island. The base's energy is still 30,000, and more than half of it has been lost. Zhou Quan doesn't care about energy. The value of the data collected in this hour definitely exceeds 30,000 energy points. The storm raged across the island, destroying countless ancient trees. Wherever it passed, the ground felt like it had been pared. Forests were destroyed. Suddenly, a deafening roar came from the middle of the forest, and even Zhou Quan, who was thousands of miles away, could vaguely hear the sound. What sound can travel thousands of miles? It can be seen on the satellite that a huge tiger also flies out from the center of the forest, but unlike the white tiger in the storm, this tiger is green. Qinghu rushed into the storm and had a fierce collision with Baihu. One mountain cannot accommodate 2 tigers. It turns out that the white tiger created the storm just to find Qinghu. The 2 tigers fought fiercely in the air, and terrifying radiation spread in all directions. The base's energy dropped again. Soldiers are not afraid of this auxiliary energy, but Zhou Quan is not. With Zhou Quan's current physique, he would die an ugly death if exposed to radiation for a long time. In order to protect Zhou Quan, the base continues to open the protective layer. As a bystander, Zhou Quan let the core continuously record the data of both parties. Nuclear energy, this may be the energy that I want to develop next. The base's energy needs are getting bigger and bigger, and it can't always rely on the collection of resource collectors and the hunting of soldiers. Research and development of energy is imperative. The battle between the two sides became more and more fierce, and the roars continued. The storm has dissipated, and two tigers can clearly be seen biting in midair. At the same time, energy beams were emitted from their mouths and eyes from time to time. Sometimes even the palms can erupt with terrifying energy. The energy exploded in midair, rising into mushroom clouds. Zhou Quan already understands why the creatures here are all plus level. After a long period of auxiliary shooting, the creatures here have adapted. Not only did they adapt, they also mutated. No wonder the meat tastes so bad. The battle lasted for a full half day. The two tigers fought from the sky to the ground and destroyed a large area of the forest. Then they entangled and rushed up to the sky, until the stars disappeared and there was no wind. Disaster affecting Chiu, another satellite was destroyed, and the culprits were obviously these two. After a long time, Zhou Quan saw the green tiger flying back from the starry sky. There are many wounds on the body, and the white tiger didn't know where it went. Obviously, Qinghu won. Qinghu fell directly back to the center of the forest and made no sound again. There is a lot of radiation in the air, but the radiation here is obviously different from that on Earth. After testing, trees, the Earth, and living things can absorb radiation. Close black lens bracket. After about an hour, the radiant energy in the air will be absorbed. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan still needs to stay in the central core tower for 1 hour. It's such a strange planet. Plants and organisms actually rely on absorbing radiation to accelerate their growth. Radiation is also a type of energy. Once the master's strength reaches the level of a second-level civilization, radiation can be ignored or absorbed. Close black lens bracket. The level of second-level civilization must be at least above level 15. The easiest way is to hatch 100,000 soldiers above level 15, so that you can reach level 15. It doesn't seem impossible to think about it. Zhou Quan is full of confidence. As long as there is hope, everything is possible. This hour, nothing can be done. Out of boredom, Zhou Quan entered the chat channel. The Galaxy chat channel is as lively as ever. Zhou Quan doesn't like to talk, he prefers to watch others talk, and he can get a lot of information from them. Can you imagine? There are aliens on my planet. What's so strange about this? I have it here too. They have already regarded me as a god and dedicated beautiful women to me. I envy those upstairs. Envy plus 1 inch. The aliens here are not weak. They have fought with me several times. You are so lucky. There are only venomous snakes and beasts here. The base has just been upgraded to level 4. I want to develop technology. I don't have the time to do these things. You can enjoy your life. ... Sure enough, someone has already upgraded the base to level 4. Obviously there are many smart people, and he is lagging behind again. Zhou Quan remained silent. Although the other party was at level 4, if there was a fight, his soldiers would definitely teach him how to behave. And we can't fight now, because there's boundless starry sky between us. Only when you reach the second level civilization is the battle beginning. Zhou Quan knows very well that before reaching level 2 civilization, everyone can only move around on their own planet. This is equivalent to a restriction. You must first be able to solve various problems on the planet and occupy most of the resources on the planet, only then can you improve your technological level. This will also increase the level of civilization. If you can't even handle your own planet, then don't talk about Starcraft. But there are creatures at the second level of civilization on my own planet, who knows what the hell they are. I don't know if this is the case on other planets besides my own. At least he didn't find it in the chat channel. Many people complained about the poor environment. There were also many people whose planet was in the nascent stage of civilization and could easily be ruled. Maybe it's just my luck. An hour later, the base was relieved of its defenses. Soldiers once again left the base to obtain resources. After experiencing the storm and radiation, there was only less than 20,000 energy left at this time. A total of more than 40,000 energy was lost before and after, and 40,000 energy is not a small number. But Zhou Quan thinks it's worth it. Using 40,000 energy in exchange for these data will help him a lot. If the corresponding nuclear energy can be studied, then the problem of energy source can be solved. There is no longer a need to resort to such backward hunting and gathering methods to obtain energy. The Scientific Research Institute can conduct nuclear energy research. Nuclear energy is a symbol of civilization. Only with a stable source of energy can civilization develop. This is true for any civilization. The Scientific Research Institute began to work, and most of the computing power began to serve the research of nuclear energy. This alone accounts for 60% of the total computing power. A biological computing cluster composed of 1,000 biological neuron chips may seem like a lot, but it is still not enough for large-scale scientific research. When energy is sufficient, the number of biological computing clusters will need to be greatly increased. Nearly 1,000 resource collectors, 500 sword fighters, and 500 gunfighters can basically bring 8,000 to 10,000 energy to the base every hour. After a fierce battle, the two giant tigers of the second-level civilization each died down, and everything returned to peace. 10 hours later, the base's energy reserves once again exceeded the 100,000 mark. Zhou Quan issued the upgrade command in the neural network. The energy blanket continues to extend in all directions, bringing more areas into the coverage of the energy blanket. The square base extends from 300 meters to 400 meters. The area has expanded from 90,000 square meters to 160,000 square meters. The base now looks very empty, with a central core tower, a scientific research institute, and only 10 arsenals neatly arranged. Most of the space is empty. If it weren't for the fusion of the Zerg core, the current base would be covered with various factories. After all, mechanical technology needs to smelt materials first and use ores to create various materials before they can be produced. Zerg biotechnology greatly simplifies this step. Coupled with the existence of material energy converters, various required materials and substances can be converted through energy. This resulted in the current empty scene. Open black lens bracket mechanical biology base close black lens bracket. Base level. Level 4. Civilization level. Less than level 1. Open black lens bracket has energy. 10,554 close black lens bracket. Have larva. 100,000. Automatically produce larva every day. 100,000. Has core facilities. Material energy converter. Close black lens bracket. Base upgrade requirements. 1 million energy. Both sword fighters and gunfighters rushed back to the base and entered the arsenal for upgrades. A level 4 base can produce level 3 soldiers. Level 3 sword fighter, comprehensive combat power 50. Level 3 gunfighter, comprehensive combat power 60. The overall combat power is between 50 and 80, which is level 3. Among level 3 soldiers, sword fighters are still the weakest at level 3. However, the requirements are also the lowest. 2 larvae and 50 energy points can hatch 1. If there is enough energy, the base can produce 100,000 larvae every day, and 50,000 sword fighters can be hatched. Overwhelming the enemy with numbers is also a good way. Low-level arms are also the most commonly used combat arms of the Zerg tribe, which are called insect sea tactics. Level 4 bases can produce new arms, which are also arms that combine mechanical technology and biotechnology. Consume 5 larvae and 500 energy points to hatch a heavy gunner. Close black lens bracket. Heavy gunner, powered by biological energy, fires energy cannonballs. Close black lens bracket. Mobile combat form. Attack range 1000 meters. Close black lens bracket. Fixed combat form. Not unlocked, unlocked after level 5. Close black lens bracket. Comprehensive combat power, 75. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan looked at the data about the heavy gunner, which was much stronger than the original mechanical artillery or Zerg combat arms. Now the gunner can only maintain a mobile combat form, and his power is not the greatest. If the level continues to increase, the heavy gunner can also unlock a fixed combat form. Once activated, the artillery with moving hands becomes a fixed turret. The attack range will be increased from 1,000 meters to 3,000 meters, and the attack power can be doubled. Moreover, After the gunner integrates biotechnology, he only needs enough energy to fight for a long time without having to consider whether there is enough ammunition. The initial energy is enough for him to fire tens of thousands of cannonballs continuously. But the manufacturing cost is not low. Compared with the cheap sword fighter, the heavy gunner is much more expensive. Zhou Quan waved his hand and made 10 heavy gunners to take a look. After all, seeing is believing. Start hatching the heavy gunner, which consumes 50 larvae, 5,000 energy, and takes half an hour. Close black lens bracket. 50 larvae rushed into the arsenal and began to hatch heavy turrets. Only one of the 10 arsenals started to operate, and the other 9 were all watching. Just 10 heavy gunners, the arsenal expressed disdain. Heavy gunner, 5 meters tall and over 2 meters wide. Standing among the crowd of sword fighters and spear fighters, he was very conspicuous. He holds a huge cannonball launcher in his hands, which can fire incredibly powerful energy cannonballs. There are no physical cannonballs, but the power is much more powerful than physical cannonballs. Zhou Quan is very satisfied with the heavy gunner hired by New Fusion. If there were such gunners around, the Sea Snake Plus from yesterday would not be able to escape. 2 shots down and killed directly. It's still an energy issue. If there is infinite energy, then we can create an infinite sea of soldiers and drown the enemy. Master, the tactics of war and sea can only form an absolute advantage in civilized battles of the same level. Close black lens bracket. Once there is a civilization level gap, no matter how many soldiers there are, it is useless. Close black lens bracket. The core kindly reminds Zhou Quan. Differences in civilization are shortcomings that are difficult to make up for. The sea of soldiers is only effective against opponents of the same level or weaker than yourself. Zhou Quan is also clearly aware of this. This is not a game. No matter how powerful the boss is, it can be pushed to death with endless minions. This is the real world, and the differences in levels of civilization cannot be crossed. No matter how powerful the primitive tribe is, even if it spreads across the entire planet, they will blow up the entire planet with one attack. There is no use in large numbers. Thinking of this, Zhou Quan is more urgent about the improvement of science and technology and the progress of civilization. After all, there is a second-level civilization boss in the center of the big island, and there must be others of the same level or even more powerful in the sea. This world is very dangerous, and the only way to protect ourselves is to improve our civilization and combat capabilities. Acquire energy and improve the base. The progress of nuclear energy research is faster than expected, with progress made in just 2 days. This is due to the large amount of data collected this time, coupled with the powerful computing power of the biological neuron computing cluster. Master, according to the current progress, it will take some time to make a breakthrough. Close black lens bracket. Some time, no specific date. This is how scientific research is originally done, with only constant experimental attempts. These days, I can get more than 100,000 energy every day. Most of the energy is used to make soldiers. The main purpose is to hatch the new unit of heavy gunner to make up for the difference in quantity. Now it has 1,000 sword fighters, 1,000 gun fighters, and 500 heavy gunners. With this strength, as long as the creatures of the second-level civilization in the center of the island don't take action, other beasts and creatures are no match for Zhou Quan. However, Zhou Quan is very afraid of the creatures of the second-level civilization. Although he will not mess with them. I was afraid that if one day the other party couldn't think of it, he would just wipe out this little ant. The sense of crisis is always there. Satellites monitor each other day and night. In the past few days, dozens of satellites have been launched into space. This planet is much larger than the Earth used to be. According to calculations, at least 36 satellites are needed to achieve true coverage. Therefore, Zhou Quan builds several satellites and launches them into space every day. There are currently 36 satellites flying in orbit over the planet, basically achieving full coverage of the planet. 90% of the planet is ocean. The remaining 10% are islands and land. The data obtained from the core statistics is no more and no less, exactly 100,000 islands. There is a second-level civilization-level creature on almost every island. They have evolved nuclear power systems, have attack methods based on the same principles as nuclear weapons, and can travel across the stars. Each one is comparable to a walking nuclear bomb. Extremely powerful. Even the former Earth army was not enough to fight any of them. Master, we have detected changes in the ocean currents, as if a powerful creature is driving the tsunami. Close black lens bracket. On the real-time satellite map, you can see that tsunamis have occurred on every island. The tsunami rolled up waves tens of thousands of meters high, many times more powerful than the natural tsunami that day. The sea level has also dropped a lot, exposing a long and narrow coastline. These tsunamis must be caused by powerful creatures, and a war will break out. Fortunately, the tsunami that hit our island happened on the other side, otherwise our base would definitely be spared. He is in the southeast of the island, and the tsunami rushes from the northwest of the island, so he should not be affected. While feeling lucky, Zhou Quan felt very bad. This kind of situation where life and death depended entirely on other people's faces and luck was very uncomfortable. Can the base be moved? After reaching level 10, the base can be upgraded to a cosmic fortress. Close black lens bracket. Leave the planet with the help of nuclear power. Close black lens bracket. That is, you can continue to develop in the vast universe, or you can choose other planets for development. Close black lens bracket. This is also one of the signs of secondary civilization. Close black lens bracket. The symbol of the second-level civilization uses nuclear power as its source and no longer worries about insufficient energy. At the same time, the second-level civilization possesses powerful nuclear weapons and weapons of mass destruction. But it's not easy to reach level 10. The base is only at level 4 now, and the energy required for upgrading has reached 1 million. Based on the 10-fold increase in base energy requirements for each level, 1 trillion energy is required to upgrade to level 10. This is impossible to achieve by relying on gathering resources. Zhou Quan stared at the images sent back by the satellite, his thoughts diverging in the neural network. Master, the Zerg upgrade method and the mechanical technology upgrade method are organically combined, and we have obtained a brand new upgrade method. Close black lens bracket. That is, you can rely on energy to get a level upgrade. Close black lens bracket. You can also lead in technology to get a level upgrade. Close black lens bracket. We can take these two paths at the same time or separately, which gives us more choice. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan is very focused on the core analysis. The second-level civilization, in the eyes of the Zerg, is a combat power level of around level 20. If the base can be upgraded to level 21, the sword fighter can also reach level 20 and have combat power equivalent to a second-level civilization. And the Zerg also have a way to solve their energy needs. If you can research science and technology to the level of a second-level civilization, you can also gain corresponding strength. Zhou Quan can choose to go one way, or he can go both ways together. Needless to say, I want bread and milk. The two paths must go together. The tsunami quickly advanced and all the soldiers returned to the base. The tsunami erupted with very obviously powerful radiation energy. This is the radiation energy belonging to the second-level civilized creatures. The tsunami is launched by the second-level civilized creatures in the ocean, and they are declaring war on the second-level civilized creatures on the land. Zhou Quan is watching a show in the base. The tsunami is at least 20,000 meters high, and when it hits it, it contains unimaginable majestic energy. Countless ancient trees were smashed into pieces, and a large number of animals were directly killed by the terrifying impact. The coastline advanced dozens of kilometers in an instant. This was only the first wave. Just a few minutes later, the second wave of tsunami followed. And then there's a third wave, every fourth wave. The island felt like it was crumbling under the impact of the tsunami. The radiation energy is getting more and more terrifying. Zhou Quan's base has activated its defenses, and its energy is gradually decreasing. Finally, I can't stand it anymore. After detecting that the source of radiation was in the center of the island, Zhou Quan knew that the green tiger on the island was about to take action. At this time, many second-level civilized creatures on the island have already taken action. Life on land and life in the ocean begin a war. Roar. Amidst the terrifying roar, the second-level civilization's green tiger rushed out again. The tsunami was dispersed by its claws. A pure white whale with a body length of more than 500 meters rushed out of the sea. The fierce wolf and the green tiger collided into a ball. Huge energy swept across the world, and the entire island was trembling. The harder you hit him, the better. It's best to kill that guy on the island, so I don't have to worry. Zhou Quan thought fiercely. What he is most worried about now is the green tiger on the island. After all, I am digging its hometown. Maybe it's because he is too weak and the other party still looks down on him. If one day I can threaten the other party will definitely slap me to death. Now Zhou Quan hopes that Qinghu will be killed so that he can develop with peace of mind for a while until he has the ability to protect himself. Qinghu had just fought with Baihu a few days ago. Although he won, he was also injured and obviously had not recovered yet. Several huge wounds on the body are still vaguely visible. At this time, fighting against the white whale, he was obviously at a disadvantage. Terrifying mushroom clouds rose into the sky, just like nuclear bombs exploding in the sky. The plant life on the planet has long been accustomed to nuclear radiation. Not only are they not afraid, they can even absorb the energy of nuclear radiation to grow. After several collisions, White Whale also discovered Qinghu's weakness. Kill him while he's sick. The roar grew louder. The energy is more violent. The White Whale began to attack Qinghu desperately. It was obviously not the first time the two had fought against each other. They were supposed to be between equals. But today, Qinghu was obviously defeated. Wounds burst, old wounds are not healed, and new wounds are added. The White Whale also suffered some injuries, but he didn't care about his wounds at all and wanted to kill Qinghu. Zhou Quan stared at the battlefield, hoping that Qinghu would be defeated. In this way, he can dig its hometown openly, without having to worry about it. The two sides fought for a day, and most of the forest on the island was destroyed, and countless wild beasts were killed and injured. Suddenly, there was a loud bang, and the entire island shook violently. Zhou Quan fell to the ground in the base. Qinghu's energy exploded in full force, as if it was the final blow. The terrifying energy turned into substance and shot through the white whale like a sharp arrow. The entire island exploded, and the energy from the base fell down like a waterfall. While the white whale's body was penetrated, it also bit Qinghu. Blood flew into the wine, and the white whale fell back into the sea with a scream. Half of Qinghu's body also fell from the air. Half of the body happened to land only 100 kilometers away from the base. Zhou Quan's eyes lit up. If we get the body of a second-level civilization creature, will it be helpful to our research? If the body of a second-level civilization creature can be obtained, even a small part, it will make a big step forward in the research of controllable nuclear fusion technology. Close black lens bracket. Too strong radiation will cause considerable damage to the Zerg soldiers who are currently only at level 3. This kind of injury does not mean direct death, but chronic death. As long as you return to the base, this kind of damage can be healed, but it will consume some energy. As for the mechanical level, the resistance to radiation is even stronger. After spending a second calculating the gains and losses, the entire army attacked. All the soldiers flew toward an area 100 kilometers away. The satellite positioned and navigated in the air and firmly locked the position of Qinghu's half-body. The closer you are to Qinghu, the stronger the auxiliary energy will be. Auxiliary energy has a fatal attraction for the creatures on this planet. After a while, a large number of wild beasts had gathered. They want to absorb radiation, improve themselves, and start evolution. Viewed from the satellite, the area around Qinghu's body was surrounded by wild beasts, at least tens of thousands of them. Moreover, each of them is a huge beast, and obviously their strength is not much weaker. They were each vigilant, and even though they were salivating over Qinghu's corpse, they did not take action directly. Zhou Quan looked serious, with a hint of nervousness in his heart. With so many beasts, if Qinghu's body was really divided up, not even the scum would be left in a few minutes. As for his part, it will take at least 40 minutes to arrive. Time passed little by little, and after more than 10 minutes of stalemate, the beast finally couldn't restrain itself. A beast that looked like a dog rushed over first. The other beasts did not move, they were waiting for the result. 500 meters, 300 meters, 200 meters. When the dog-shaped beast rushed into the 200-meter range, it suddenly let out a mournful cry. The body began to decay rapidly. The radiation energy exceeds the limit it can withstand. The next second, the dog-shaped beast exploded, and the pieces of meat were scattered all over the floor. The tragic situation of wild dogs stopped some eager beasts. Zhou Quan saw all this through satellite. The energy source of level 2 civilized creatures is nuclear fusion, which is basically an active nuclear warhead. Now it is hung up and cannot move, but the nuclear warhead has also detonated uncontrollably. Can our soldiers hold up? According to testing, the radiation intensity is the highest within 100 meters around the corpse. With the strength of a heavy gunner, it can only last for 5 seconds. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan calculated that 5 seconds should be enough. Then just follow the plan and give it a try first to see if it works. The action is controlled by you. You are responsible for doing it and I am responsible for watching. Okay, great master. The core did not hesitate and immediately allocated part of the computing power. Now 90% of the base's computing power is in the Scientific Research Institute, used for nuclear energy research. The biological computing cluster system composed of 1,000 biological neuron chips is already operating at full capacity. Originally, Zhou Quan wanted to expand the biological computing cluster, but gave up after doing the calculations. Nowadays, when the computing cluster is at full load, it consumes 1,000 energy points per hour, accounting for almost 10% of the energy obtained by Zhou Quan. In addition, Zhou Quan also needs to use energy industry to incubate soldiers and retain some of them to upgrade the base. If the computing power is increased, the energy consumption will also increase. Even if computing power is increased, research on nuclear energy will not necessarily speed up progress. After careful consideration and discussion with the core, we will not increase the size of the biological computing cluster for the time being. When nuclear energy research takes off and energy is unlimited, it will not be too late to add more computing clusters. Time passed little by little, and Zhou Quan's biomechanical soldiers finally arrived. Several more beasts tried to rush over, but without exception, they were all killed by the radiation. The nearest one was still 30 meters away from the body. The beasts surrounding the corpse hesitated and stayed away. But he was unwilling to leave just like that, so he simply surrounded the corpse and greedily absorbed the radiation energy. Boom, boom, boom. Suddenly, hundreds of artillery shells fell from the sky and landed among the beasts. There were violent explosions and flames shot into the sky. A large number of beasts were blown to pieces, and even more were left disabled. He fell to the side with severed arms and legs, and he would not live long. Each shell fired by the heavy gunner is like a small missile, powerful enough to cover a 20-meter radius. A volley of fire caused the beast to run away like crazy. Another volley followed. The heavy gunner sent the shells into the wild beasts with unparalleled accuracy. Round after round of artillery fire seemed to be razing the forest to the ground. Then there was heavy gunfire. There are 1,000 level 3 gunfighters holding biomass firearms in their hands, and the frequency per second has reached 300 rounds per minute. Bullets poured out, and the beasts were riddled with holes. But their actions also attracted more beasts. You must know that there are tens of thousands of wild beasts surrounding Qinghu's body, and there are only 2,500 of them including sword fighters. 10 times less than the wild beasts. The beasts turned around, showing ferocious eyes. Then he rushed towards the soldiers. The sword fighters were waiting in formation, and the gunfighters fired continuously from behind. A large number of beasts were beaten into sieves and fell on the road. But more beasts rushed over, trying to drown the sword fighters like seawater. At this time, dozens of artillery shells streaked across the sky and landed accurately on Qinghu's body. The bodies of level 2 creatures are so strong that a round of shelling can only leave some marks on them. But this is only the first round. Under the command of the core, the heavy gunner fired again. This time he aimed at the wound on Qinghu's severed limb. There is no solid skin here, just lazy flesh. The cannonball landed on the wound and exploded. Blood and flesh flew everywhere, and countless flesh and blood were blown out. The flesh and blood flew hundreds or thousands of meters in the air, and then scattered throughout the forest. The beasts suddenly went crazy. The green tiger's flesh and blood was too attractive to them, and they instantly gave up the sword fight and turned around to fight for the flesh and blood. The radiation of flesh and blood is not that strong, and the beasts can withstand it. Devouring flesh and blood may allow them to evolve. Zhou Quan smiled. His core command ability is indeed very strong. The cannonballs landed on Qinghu's wound one after another, exploding the flesh and blood. At the same time, the sword fighters also took action, grabbing the flesh and blood flying toward them, and then ran directly into the base without looking back. The wild beasts were fighting crazily for flesh and blood, and they were already killing each other like crazy. No wild beasts came to trouble the soldiers. Cannonballs kept falling on Qinghu's body, blasting out the flesh and blood as much as possible. The second-level civilized creatures are indeed powerful. Even flesh and blood can only be blown out of the corpse and are difficult to blow up. Sword fighters continued to receive the flesh and blood, then turned around and rushed back to the base. The base has already made preparations, and the Scientific Research Institute has allocated part of its computing power to analyze the composition of flesh and blood. The secrets of nuclear fusion are also contained in the flesh and blood of level 2 civilized creatures. At some point, the shells stopped. The beasts were still fighting for flesh and blood, but Zhou Quan's soldiers had retreated collectively. A total of 12 pieces of flesh and blood were snatched, which was enough for research. Flesh and blood are constantly emitting strong radiation. With Zhou Quan's physical condition, even if he is exposed to this level of radiation for 1 second, it will be fatal. The flesh and blood was sealed the moment it entered the base, and then sent to the Scientific Research Institute for further research. The battle between various islands and marine life has finally come to an end. Both sides won and lost, but not many died. Only 2 tigers were killed. 1 green and 1 white, 2 tigers. It was just because the 2 tigers had fought a few days ago and both were injured. 2 dogs fight, play off. With Qinghu's flesh and blood, the research progress has been greatly advanced. Flesh contains the secrets of controlled nuclear fusion. In particular, flesh and blood is also a biological category. For the Zerg, this is their line of work. Soon, each theory was verified, and we were getting closer and closer to truly developing controllable nuclear fusion technology. Resource collectors are still working tirelessly to collect energy. Zhou Quan continued to increase the size of the Legion as planned. Now there are no green tigers on the island where he is, and there may still be some powerful beasts, but he is not afraid of them anymore. The Legion once again went to the place where Qinghu's body was located. After the beasts fought for it, all the flesh and blood exploded, but a large number of beast corpses were left behind. These are the losers in the competition. For Zhou Quan, these corpses are full of energy, and he doesn't want to miss them. In fact, there are also a large number of corpses in the northwest corner of the island, where the tsunami hit the south. But the distance is too far, spanning thousands of kilometers, and it doesn't make much sense for a few corpses. 5 days later, the number of swordsmen and gunfighters each reached 2,000. The number of heavy gunners also reached 1,000. When the heavy gunner fires a salvo, it is enough to cover a 1-kilometer radius. Research on nuclear fusion has finally come to an end. The principle of nuclear fusion is not difficult, the methods and materials are not difficult, it can almost be said to be at your fingertips. The difficulty is that a large amount of heat energy is released during nuclear fusion. The temperature can rise to thousands or even tens of thousands of degrees in a very short period of time. Materials such as steel, iron, and copper cannot withstand this temperature. The main problem of research is to solve the material problem. Until now, through the study of the green tiger's flesh and blood, we finally have a clue. Microscopic controllable nuclear fusion technology. Controllable nuclear fusion is carried out at the microscopic level, so that while energy is obtained, the heat energy dissipation is not large. A special biological flesh and blood structure is used to create a biological electromagnetic field for restraint. This technology is the same as controllable nuclear fusion in the traditional sense, but also different. When the news of the successful development of core nuclear fusion was told to Zhou Quan was really excited. Deuterons and tritium nuclei required for nuclear fusion are both found in seawater, but the content of deuterons is abundant and the content of tritium nuclei is very small. But it doesn't matter. On this planet, which is at least 10 times larger than the Earth, there is as much seawater as there is need. If that doesn't work, there's also a matter-to-energy converter. A piece of flesh and blood the size of a fingernail was produced from the Scientific Research Institute and placed on the energy blanket. Zhou Quan looked across the central core tower. This newly manufactured microscopically controllable nuclear fusion device may burst out with astonishing energy and release deadly radiation. Start experimenting and see how much energy such a piece can release. All aspects have been prepared and the test has begun. Nuclear fusion was activated, and almost instantly, the energy in the base increased explosively. Originally, the energy of the base was still 300,000, but it instantly increased to 310,000, and it is still increasing. 10 seconds later it exceeded the 400,000 mark. 10,000 energy points can be added almost every second. Time passes little by little until the isotope material inside is exhausted. The energy of the base has exceeded 1.3 million. According to tests, such a microscopic nuclear fusion device can release a total of 1 million energy. Close black lens bracket. Such a piece is enough to upgrade the base. With nuclear fusion, there is almost unlimited energy. Therefore, nuclear fusion is the basis for the leap from first-level civilization to second-level civilization. With energy, Zhou Quan immediately upgraded the base. The base extends outward again. It is 500 meters long on a side and covers an area of 25,000 square meters. Open black lens bracket. Mechanical biology base. Close black lens bracket. Base level, level 5. Civilization level, level 1. Open black lens bracket. Has energy, 9315265. Close black lens bracket. Have larva, 100,000. Automatically produce larva every day, 100,000. Has core facilities, material energy converter. Close black lens bracket. Base upgrade requirements, energy. Looking at the data of the level 5 base, I asked, why isn't the number of larvae increasing? Master, the upper limit of the number of larvae in a base is 100,000. If the master wants to have more larvae, he can build a sub-base. Close black lens bracket. Sub-base. How to establish a sub-base. The Zerg base starts from level 5 and can build sub-bases. Close black lens bracket. At the same time, wormhole tunnels can be established, and you can travel between bases through wormholes. Close black lens bracket. The master can bring 2 larvae to a certain place. Through the neural network, one larva can hatch into a base and the other can hatch into a wormhole tunnel. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan thought a lot in an instant. If this is the case, he can establish sub-bases on other planets. Some dangerous experiments can also be carried out on other planets. At the same time, you can also build some sub-bases on the planet you are on. The cunning rabbit's 3 caves are always right. Is it possible to build a base under the sea? Yes, the Zerg base can be built anywhere without any requirements on the environment. It can be built even in the vacuum of the universe. Close black lens bracket. The same is true for the base that incorporates our Zerg biotechnology. Close black lens bracket. The core answer gave Zhou Quan peace of mind. The base function is there, the energy is there, and now all that is left is to study the carrier of energy. The easiest way for a carrier is to push the base directly to level 10. Or build corresponding aircraft through mechanical civilization. Available before then. Create 1,000 microscopic controllable nuclear fusion devices. Master, a large number of microscopically controllable nuclear fusion devices will be sensed by level 2 civilized creatures. Close black lens bracket. We may be attacked. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan misfires. Isn't this seeking death? Upgrading your base requires a lot of energy. It can also be obtained by relying solely on collection technology, but the timeline will be very long, ranging from a few years to more than 10 years. Controllable nuclear fusion technology is the breakthrough. But now there are a large number of secondary civilization-level creatures on the planet, and they are very sensitive to nuclear energy. And the creatures in the ocean are obviously hostile to the creatures on land. The original thought that after the success of nuclear fusion research, the hope that the base would reach the sky and reach level 10 was shattered. A good woman. Zhou Quan was a little depressed. When I looked up and saw the satellites in the night sky, I made a decision. It shouldn't be a problem to build 1 or 2 nuclear fusion devices. The energy supply time of each microscopic nuclear fusion device is only 1,000 seconds, which is only 10 minutes. Through bioelectric magnetic field constraints and a layer of protective devices, external radiation can be reduced to a minimum. Theoretically, it shouldn't be that easy to detect. The core gave the answer after rigorous calculations. Radiation shielders can be made to shield most radiated energy. Close black lens bracket. A nuclear fusion device, within 1000 seconds of activation, will not be able to sense it as long as there are no level 2 civilized creatures within 1000 kilometers around it. Close black lens bracket. If 2 nuclear fusion equipment are activated at the same time, the sensing distance will be expanded to 5000 kilometers, making it extremely easy to be sensed. Close black lens bracket. For this super large planet, 1000 kilometers is only a small distance. Even the diameter of the island where it is located is several thousand kilometers. It shouldn't be that easy to detect. I made up my mind, make a radiation shield, and then activate a nuclear fusion equipment to upgrade the base again. There are currently 9.31 million energy left in the base, and the next upgrade requires 10 million energy. You only need to activate it again to upgrade. The core executed 100% of Zhou Quan's orders. Immediately after the radiation shield was fabricated, a miniature nuclear fusion device was activated. A large amount of energy is released and absorbed by the base. 1000 seconds later, the base energy reached 19.31 million. Make good use of this energy. First, upgrade the base to level 6. Open black lens bracket mechanical biology base close black lens bracket. Base level, level 6. Civilization level, level 1. Open black lens bracket has energy, 9315265 close black lens bracket. Possess larva, 100,000. Automatically produce larva every day, 100,000. Has core facilities, material energy converter. Close black lens bracket. Base upgrade requirements, 100 million energy. The next level requires 100 million energy. If it were not for some potentially fatal reasons, it would be just a small problem for 10 miniature controllable nuclear fusion devices. But now we are stuck in a dilemma. Zhou Quan didn't want to try playing a game of death in front of these powerful creatures. This is not a game, there is no way to come back if you die. Manufacture 5,000 biological neuron chips and join the biological computing cluster. Start manufacturing biological neuron chips, consume 5,000 larvae, 50,000 energy, and take 10 minutes. The biological computing cluster that originally had only 1,000 biological neuron chips was immediately replenished, and the computing power suddenly increased 6 times. For the core, computing is more comfortable. The efficiency of scientific research institutes will also become faster. To develop non-nuclear powered spacecraft, it doesn't need to be fast or powerful, as long as it can fly away from the planet and reach the satellite. Start research on non-nuclear powered spacecraft. Close black lens bracket. With the support of huge computing power, research on non-nuclear spacecraft will not be too slow. The power aspect is off-the-shelf, biodynamic systems. Although the thrust of the biodynamic system is not large, as long as there are enough, the spacecraft can be taken to space. Since it is not easy to develop on the planet, Zhou Quan plans to fight a preliminary battle on the satellite first, establish a base, and try to develop on it. Suddenly, in the neural network, a large number of resource collectors who were working lost contact. In just a few seconds, dozens of resource collectors were wiped out. Lord, a wild beast has invaded. Close black lens bracket. What kind of beast could think so hard? Zhou Quan has seen the attacker through the neural network. It's a wild beast in the forest. But no ordinary beast. They are much stronger than ordinary beasts, their bodies are generally over 100 meters tall, and they emit weak radiation energy. It is a creature of first-level civilization. Some of them even ate the flesh and blood left by Qinghu. They actually joined forces to attack him. In other words, they sensed their own miniature controllable nuclear fusion device. 2 tests, the first time without any cover-up, just went straight to it. Without the barrier of seawater, radiation fluctuations in the air can be transmitted far away, and it is normal for them to be sensed. Zhou Quan figured it out immediately. Are you here to die? Zhou Quan was depressed because his neck was stuck, and a sneer appeared on his lips. Ready to fight. With an order, a large number of soldiers rushed back to the base. The heavy gunners transformed into fixed turrets. The heavy gunner in the form of a fixed turret has a range of 3,000 meters and its attack power is much stronger than that in the mobile form. The roar of artillery fire. Energy cannonballs exploded among the beasts. Under the control of the core, with sufficient computing power, each of the 1,000 fixed forts turned into a marksman. Hit wherever you point, and you'll always hit the target. In the eyes of the Zerg, a beast whose strength reaches the first level of civilization is about level 5 to 8 in combat power. Although the heavy gunner is only level 5, in a fixed state, the combat power is much stronger, enough to cause damage to wild beasts. Hundreds of beasts rushed over under intense artillery fire. They came in unison from thousands of kilometers away. Mainly because they sensed the nuclear fusion energy in the base. This is the energy they desire to evolve. Screaming in agony, one after another the beasts fell on the road. Although it is not like Qinghu's corpse, it has become a restricted area of life. Perhaps the 3,000 meters covered by the measuring gun has almost become a restricted area, making it difficult to rush in. Even if they rush in, there are still a large number of sword fighters and gunfighters waiting. Everyone is a first-level civilization, and even if you are stronger, your strength is limited. When there is no pressure gap between civilization levels and technological levels, the military sea tactic has an absolute advantage. These beasts that came to his door became Zhou Quan's outlet. Under the gunfire, more than 300 beasts that had reached the first level of civilization, with strength ranging from level 5 to level 8, were revealed. As a result, only 1/10 could be sent through the artillery fire area. Even if he rushed over, he would still be covered in bruises. Then they will be attacked intensively by gunfighters. He rushed in front of him, and there were sword fighters waiting for him with his swords. After this round of greetings, these beasts have basically stopped. Logically speaking, anyone who can reach the level of first-level civilization should not be an idiot. It's really unthinkable to come here knowing that you are going to die. According to analysis, sea levels are rising. In up to 720 hours, the island will be completely submerged. Close black lens bracket. ... When did it happen? It started after the death of the second-level civilization Qinghu. Close black lens bracket. The information is limited, and it can be speculated that the root cause of all this is the lack of creatures with a level 2 civilization. Close black lens bracket. Is there any other evidence? The island where the other white tiger is located is also being submerged. This phenomenon does not occur on other islands. Close black lens bracket. What this principle is, Zhou Quan doesn't know. Perhaps it is because the level of civilization is not enough, so the information available is not enough. If the island is engulfed in 720 hours, then your base can only last for 240 hours at most. After all, his base is close to the coastline. The Overlord does not need to worry, the base can operate normally even on the bottom of the sea. Close black lens bracket. Of course Zhou Quan knew that even something in the vacuum of space could hinder the normal operation of the base. But he was trapped in the central core tower and could not take a step out. What is the difference between this and going to jail? But if this is really the case, then we can only sit down. The base must be upgraded to level 10 within 240 hours. If we weren't afraid of those second-level civilization creatures, one day would be enough. How long will it take for the spacecraft to be researched? The biodynamic system already exists and improvements are being calculated. It is expected to take another 3 hours. Close black lens bracket. The internal aircraft data on the planet has been unlocked, and calculations are being made to improve it into a space-class spacecraft. It is expected to take another 12 hours. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan waved his hand. There is no need to improve the planet's civil war machine. Just integrate biotechnology into it and it will be enough to fly into space. As ordered, cancel the research on improving the aircraft within the planet. Close black lens bracket. Beginning to integrate biotechnology. Close black lens bracket. After the base reaches level 6, the base part of mechanical technology has unlocked the planetary civil war machine. Also unlocked are defensive artillery. Originally, defensive artillery was not of much use to Zhou Quan, and he had no intention of wasting energy on it. More than 9 million yuan of energy may seem like a lot, but it is actually not enough. But unexpectedly, the next scene made Zhou Quan's scalp numb. Lord, the forest beasts are rioting. Close black lens bracket. The core voice was as calm as ever. As an intelligent brain, it does not have any emotions. Even in life or death situations, In the neural network, the picture is transmitted in real time. Trees in the forest collapsed in patches, not just one place, but the entire island. The island is thousands of kilometers deep, and there are countless beasts in it. Sea levels are rising, and the islands are about to be submerged. The beasts on the islands are feeling a fatal crisis. The nuclear energy in the Zhou base was like a beacon, instinctively making them feel that this was their only hope. The hundreds of beasts before were just appetizers, not even the vanguard. Now is when the real riot begins. Countless huge beasts were running, knocking down big trees and forcibly opening roads. The island was shaking, as if it was about to sink. The beast tide is expected to arrive in 1 hour. The number cannot be accurately calculated, but it is no less than 1 million. Close black lens bracket. A good woman. Zhou cursed. All research is suspended, and all computing power is devoted to biological fusion of defensive artillery. Suspend all research and start defense artillery biological fusion. Close black lens bracket. The base fell silent. A biological computing cluster composed of 6,000 biological neuron chips has extremely powerful computing power. Moreover, defensive artillery already exists, and the same Zerg base also has biological defense platform technology. The integration process of the two technologies is very fast. After just a few minutes, the fusion was broken through. Level 6 Biological Defense Turret. Attack range, 100 kilometers. Close black lens bracket. Attack power, level 8. Attack frequency, 2 seconds. In a level 6 base, only level 5 soldiers can be hatched. But defensive turrets do not belong to soldiers, but to buildings. So it can reach level 6 just like the base. After the integration of mechanical technology and biotechnology, the attack power of level 6 defense turrets has reached level 8. Each defensive turret requires 50 larvae and 5,000 energy. The consumption is very large. Build 1,000 biological defense turrets. Start building a biological defense turret, consuming 50,000 larvae and 5 million energy, which takes half an hour. Close black lens bracket. A large number of larvae rush out from the central core tower and arrive at various locations under the control of the core. The entire base began to squirm, and defensive turrets rose from the ground. All of a sudden, more than half of the more than 9 million energy was consumed. But even if there are 1,000 bio-defense turrets with an attack power of level 8, plus their own soldiers, they may not be able to stop beasts with an order of magnitude exceeding 1 million. The military tactics he wanted to use fell on him instead. Start research on high-power nuclear weapons. Efforts should be made to research high-power nuclear weapons. Close black lens bracket. Originally, Zhou planned to conduct this research on a satellite. But now, plans need to change. This beast riot on the island will most likely attract the attention of those second-level civilized creatures. He also needs a killing weapon, and it is a big killing weapon that can threaten them. Facing the unknown future, we can only take one step at a time. Plans are meant to be broken. Accident after accident never allowed him to act as planned. From this moment on, Zhou thinking began to change. The defensive fort is completed. 1,000 giant forts with a height of more than 20 meters appeared in the base. The turret does not have physical cannonballs, it only fires energy cannonballs. The killing range of each artillery shell can reach a radius of 100 meters. Of course, the most powerful part is concentrated within 20 meters of the center. At this time, the base is no longer empty. Except for the core area, it is basically occupied by defensive forts. Outside the defensive fort is the heavy gunner who has become a fixed form. Then there are gunfighters and sword fighters. The total number is only 4,000, and they will face a tide of more than 1 million beasts. Zhou is not sure whether he can win or not. At this time, the entire biological computing cluster is operating at full capacity, with 5% of the computing power controlled by the core and engaged in this war. The remaining 95% was given to scientific research institutes for the research and development of nuclear weapons. For nuclear energy research, the most difficult thing is controllable nuclear fusion technology. Controlled nuclear fusion already exists. The source of the technical level equivalent to nuclear energy has been solved, and the following branch applications are all a matter of course. Boom! The roar was deafening, and a terrifying energy wave swept through the entire base. Thousands of defensive forts opened fire almost at the same time. The beast tide has entered within 100 kilometers of the base and has also entered the strike range of the defensive fort. Energy cannonballs rained down into the beast swarm. The ground shook, and countless beasts were blown to pieces. A single volley killed thousands of beasts. But more beasts rushed over from behind. And the formation is gradually spreading out. With a number of more than 1 million, it is impossible to completely block it with defensive forts alone. At most, it can only delay the advance of the beast tide. Zhou Quan's eyes became slightly serious. Hatch 10,000 sword fighters. Start hatching the sword fighter, consuming 20,000 larvae and 500,000 energy, which takes 10 minutes. Close black lens bracket. A level 5 sword fighter, although not very powerful, can still cause damage to beasts. Defensive forts are the first line of defense. The fixed form heavy gunner is the second line of defense. Then the team composed of sword fighters and gun fighters is the third line of defense. The first two lines of defense stopped most of the beasts, and the number of beasts that could reach the third line of defense was not too many. The long and short range combination of sword fighters and gun fighters can completely catch fish that slip through the net. The beasts were aroused by the defensive batteries, and their attacks became more frenzied. The 100-kilometer defense line was broken down after only holding for less than 10 minutes. Under the control of the Corps, the 1,000 defensive turrets are divided into 3 groups and fired in a round of 0.7 seconds to achieve seamless coverage and strike. Although it still couldn't completely block the beast's progress, it tried its best to delay it. The beast's advance slowed. Half a day later, the beasts suffered more than 100,000 casualties and were still 60 kilometers away from the base. There were countless bodies left along the way. Suddenly, the beasts scattered in all directions. They did not retreat en route, but stretched the front line and weakened the power of the fort in disguise. Once the defensive turret cannot achieve coverage, its lethality will be much less. Master, this beast tide has a leader. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan has also seen a huge bison with red horns and black skin at the very back of the beast tide. The giant bison is at least 100 meters tall and more than 200 meters long. It's not a second-level civilization creature, but it's very close. If you count it by level, it's at least level 15. When he saw the other party, Zhou Quan understood the real reason for this beast wave. It's no wonder that every beast is fearless and fearless. It turns out that there is a beast commanding behind it. This big bison probably wants to swallow the nuclear energy in the base. It has a chance to evolve into a second-level civilized creature. If the big bison at level 15 or so rushes towards it, it will be difficult for the base to block it. How's the research on nuclear weapons going? We already have an idea, and verification calculations are in progress. Verification calculations take some time. Close black lens bracket. Zhou Quan nodded. It only took half a day. It was quite fast to be able to study to this level. As he spoke, his eyes were always fixed on the big bison in the picture. As long as you don't do anything, you'll have no worries. The remaining beasts can only move forward by stepping on the corpses of their companions. This big bison seemed to be very timid. It did not move on its own, but instead drove its little brother in the forest to come and test it. As long as he can evolve to the second-level civilization, it won't matter even if all his brothers die. The cannonballs remained the same, and after they dispersed, the cannonballs also formed various scatterings. Fortunately, the core control ability is outstanding, and it can control each turret separately to form precise strikes on the scattered beasts. But even so, the efficiency is far less than the previous covering strike, and the beast's advancement speed is greatly accelerated. Half a day later, the beasts were only 10 kilometers away from the base. At this time, almost 1/3 of the beasts were dead or injured. The images transmitted from the satellite can be seen corpses all over the island, but similarly, more beasts are rushing over one after another. The big bison's position has also advanced a lot at this time, and it is still 500 kilometers away from the base. Zhou Quan is not worried. As long as Da Qing Niu doesn't do anything, he will be fine. The last 3 kilometers are the restricted area for wild animals. In addition to defending against attacks from the fort, there are also fixed-form heavy gunners. Under double attack, it will become more difficult for the beasts to move forward. From the beginning, Zhou Quan did not expect to rely on the fort and the rear soldiers to stop the beasts. Over time, it will definitely be broken through. All hopes are placed on the upcoming nuclear weapons. The most powerful weapon ever on Earth, the hydrogen bomb. Just as Zhou Quan thought, the beasts were hit hard when entering the last 3 kilometers. Heavy gunners joined the battle, and the double fire coverage made it more difficult for the beasts to advance. Only some rough-skinned beasts can rush in, and then they will be killed by sword fighters and gun fighters. Master, nuclear weapons research was successful. Close black lens bracket. Good news suddenly came from the core, which shocked Zhou Quan's spirit. Thanks for watching. Please like and subscribe.